This is a podcast about one woman's mission to help entrepreneurs and business owners write better business books. Each week, we tackle your writing excuses, because there are excuses too, and help you beat the blank page of doom so that you can write the book that'll grow your life and your business. Now here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the 1000 Authors Show. I am Vicky Quinn Fraser, and this week I am talking to my good friend Misty Mozejko, who is my sister from another mister. She is my Breaking Bread Mastermind's co-host and conspirator, and she's one of my bestest buddies. And just a couple of weeks ago, we were having a rant about how difficult it is to ask for money, basically. And women particularly seem to struggle with this. We want to be generous. And so, you know, like the title of the podcast says, generosity kills the cash. That's Misty's pun, not mine. But yeah, it's a thing. It's a problem. And so Misty is an expert at this. She does this. She asks for money on the phone all day, every day. That is what she does. And she helps people to build sales pipelines and things to bring more money into their businesses. So we decided to rant on air, and that is what we have done during this podcast. So I am going to bid you a good morning or a good afternoon or a good day or a good evening. Enjoy this episode, and I will see you afterwards. Enjoy this interview. Yay, we're back with Misty. Hi, Misty.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I love how we do this. Like, we haven't just been chatting about dog penises for the last 5 minutes.
What are you talking about? I'm very professional.
So yay, Misty's back on the podcast. And the reason that we are back here today is because a couple of weeks ago, we were ranting about an inability to ask for money, and how everybody suffers from this to some extent, but particularly women seem to have a problem with it. So, and this is something that Misty does every day on the phone. She asks people for money. So,
so much money, all of your money.
So this is what we are talking about. Do you want to just recap what we were yelling about the other day?
Yelling. So I have an expression called generosity kills the cash. And in my job and what I do for people is I help people make money. So I don't enjoy it when people are overly generous inside their business, because it doesn't make my job very easy. So if all of my clients continue to be overly generous with their services, their time and their know-how and their knowledge, it makes it awfully hard for me to build very successful and profitable funnels for them to sell their things instead of just giving it away. Generosity is lovely and a very necessary part of business. And you have to be generous, and I would not want to kill that spirit in someone. But at one point, Misty has to come in and be the generosity police, as Marcella Allison used to call me, and shut that shit down. So generosity is the easy way out of asking for money. It's much easier for us to be like, you know what, it's fine. It's totally fine. You know what, I just do that thing for free, and then I don't have to ask for the credit card. But in reality, what we all need to get better at is asking for a credit card over the phone so we can close deals immediately and make money. That's the point of all of this.
Yeah, because I don't know any mortgage company anywhere that will take like warm and fuzzy feelings as payment for my mortgage.
Yes, that'd be. I mean, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have a roof over my head if that was the case, because I don't have many of the warm and fuzzy feelings. But that would be a great system. I'll pay you. I'll pay my mortgage with just free wisdom. No.
Well, it's like when people say, oh, you'll get really good exposure if you do this for free. And it's just like, I can't pay my bills with exposure.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's not, it's cold hard cash. And when you think about what money really is in the big, and, you know, this might get a bit woo-woo for some, but money is a form of energy. So if I'm giving you my energy in the form of knowledge and know-how, or, you know, advice or coaching or whatever I'm giving to you, you have to then return that with money. That is your energy. You're going to give me energy, and I'm going to give you energy, and then everything's going to be balanced. Once it starts to become imbalanced, whereby you're giving out all the stuff and they're giving nothing back, you start to build resentment. And then after that, then you get mad. So, and you get very poor. So it's really, when you look at it, someone, if you're going to give something to someone, they have to give you the energy back in the form of money. That's just how it works. So that might resonate with some and completely baffle others, but I always look at it like that. I have no problem asking you to return the energy that I'm giving to you, right? I have no problems doing that. But oh my God, I've got to ask you for a credit card. That's what it looks like in the business world, right?
So what do you think it is that stops people from just like asking for the money then?
I had a really hard time, probably 2012-ish. I had my own fitness and nutrition studio, and I had to close people for personal training services. And I was really bad at it. I just couldn't do it. I just was like, as soon as it got to like, they were like, yeah, this sounds amazing. I totally want to work with you, Misty. It's going to be so awesome. And then by the time it got to the money, I like just sort of like divert around that little bit and be like, okay, great. See you on Monday. And then like push it off away from me because I just couldn't do it. And I had a mentor at the time and they're like, you got to get the credit card on the phone. And I was just like, that is so hard. It feels pushy to me. And I'm British and sometimes we can be overly cautious about certain things. But it felt very pushy. It felt very salesy. It felt very grabby. But it wasn't. That was just my own shit blocking me from making my own money. So that's what I felt. That's how it felt on the phone to me. It just felt like I was just being a grabby, sleazy salesperson. And it's difficult to ask for money. Everyone has a hard time with that, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot, and it's different for different people. Like I felt sleazy doing it, and intimidated. And I don't know what it is. Money is just so scary. And it's the thing that you need the most in your business. Yeah. So you don't want to fuck it up.
I know. And it's like, however you ask for it and whenever you ask for it, because like sometimes sometimes it's appropriate to ask for a credit card on the phone. And sometimes I think other things, it's like I would like for my private coach, I would much rather people go away and think about that because like I'm going to have to spend 6 months with people and I don't want to do that if we're not the right fit. That's fine. But like if it's something like, personal training or something like, yes, we're making an appointment, we're coming in on Monday. If you're making an appointment, you should be taking the money.
The money should be, there should be some form of commitment in the form of a financial commitment, right? From anybody with anything that you do. And I think that it's very difficult for people to appear money-centric, right? And I don't ever look at it like I'm being money-centric. I unapologetically love making money, and I love making money with my clients. I love helping my clients make money. I just love it, right? I love making money for myself too, but I just love it. So money doesn't really have that hold over me like it did back in 2012. I've kind of been able to tame that beast a little bit. So
what do you think's changed between now and then?
The realization that if they don't pay me, I can't help them. And the thing that I'm put here to do on the earth is to help people. That's what I'm supposed to do. That I know that about myself. And many of the listeners today are going to be in the same boat. They know that they are here to help people. Whatever their skill set is, they're going to use it to benefit others, right? That's the kind of groups that we hang in. That's the kind of people we have, right? So if you know that you're put on this earth to help people, that's your job, then the only way you can help them is by taking their money. It sounds awful, but they have to pay you for the thing so you can help them do the thing, right? Like that you have. So if I don't take that commitment from them, it's nothing. It's a wishy-washy conversation that we had that they'll probably forget about in 5 minutes. And, all the great advice I just shared with them is nothing because they had no skin in the game. So it's the only way for me to truly help people is by taking their financial commitment to that service. That's a different way. That's how I've managed to look at it. They need to know that they're in. They've laid down the cash. They're in. Now they can get the help. It's got to be serious.
And you know what? There's a way that you can actually measure this shit as well. I think people like cleverer people than me have done studies on physiotherapy. I think it's like people who got free physio have worse outcomes than people who pay for their physio.
Yeah,
because but I've like actually seen it with my stuff as well. And you've just reminded me because every now and then I used to do a free book thing on Kindle. So I would like put my book up for free and it would get like hundreds and hundreds of downloads. But you can tell by looking at the back end of Amazon KDP how many pages have been read. And like a really small number. And so like there's always a very tiny proportion of people who will use what they get for free, of course, but most people won't. And so they've got this book for free that would help them to write a book and they've not read it because it was free. So it's just sitting there on their Kindles. And that for me is like tangible, visible proof of if you give people free. They don't value it as highly.
I find this as well with gifting services. So I work with Lisa Rangel from Chameleon Resumes, and sometimes very nice people will call in and say, look, I know this person, they are incredible, but they really need a resume. They really need someone to write their resume up for them, and they really need help with their job search because they're such gifted people, but their resume sucks. So I'm going to buy them a resume and I'm going to gift it to them. So, and that's such a lovely thought to give someone that, because what an incredible, kind, forward-thinking gift to give someone. But writing a resume and doing a job search is not just, it's not like buying a pair of socks. Like, the other person has to be invested. There's time, there's, energy, right? There's all the things. And if they didn't purchase that service, it's very unlikely that they're going to be chomping at the bit to get this done. They're going to think, oh, okay, cool. It was free. I'll get to it someday. Oh yeah, that was a nice idea, but I'm probably not going to do it. It's not on their own volition. They don't have any investment in this. They didn't get their, they haven't reached the bottom of the barrel yet. They didn't get their ass kicked by something. Like, there's been nothing to spur them. They've just been gifted it. And then oftentimes it doesn't really work out for them. So you got to be super careful gifting people stuff as well, right? Gifting services, because they're not sometimes invested.
That's a really good point. I hadn't really given that much thought before, but yeah, it's like you say, it's a really nice idea for people to go, oh, I'm going to gift you this because I think you need it. I think what would be a better way to gift services to people would be if you see somebody who's like, I really want this so badly, I can't afford it, I'm going to put it on my credit card. And that's a good place to step in and say, you know what, I'm going to gift this to you because I don't want you to go to get it, because they're already kind of committed to it. But if you're going to randomly say, I think this person needs this, then you're right. They don't have they don't know that they've got that problem yet. They're not going to have that investment in it. So,
yeah. So you got to be careful with how you gift things, gifting strategically.
Strategic gifting.
Yeah.
If anybody is wondering, then vegan chocolate is always a good one for me. Thanks. Cool. So let's talk a bit then about how you ask for money on the phone.
Okay. So in my day-to-day life, I typically will run anywhere from 3 to sometimes 7 sales calls per day. My sales calls are to sell high-ish ticket items, typically the average sale being around $5,000. So we've got products higher than that. I've got products lower than that. I don't get on the sales call for anything less than $1,000. So, on average, it's about $5,000. That's the goal, right? To get the person to spend $5,000. And I got to do this multiple times a day, right? So not being a pit bull about sales, like I'm not one of these, hardcore closers. I'm not one of these people that just live for the sale. Like, that's not who I am. And I had to go through sales training, very painful and very humbling sales training. And it was awful. And I wanted to kick everyone around me and make it and have a temper tantrum because I just didn't like it. And I had to, ultimately, the sales training was very beneficial for me, but ultimately I had to find my own way to ask, because I can't just say, right, let's get your credit card out then. Let me take all your money and then we'll get going. So one of the ways you can do this is by inserting humor into the actual sales bit, right? So as you've gone through your shtick, you've told them why it's awesome. They're going to take this $5,000 package, and ultimately they'll say something like, so what's next? At this point, I can say, if it's appropriate with the client, I can say something like, well, it's very easy. I just take all of your money and then then we're off to the races. And then that kind of diffuses, that sort of like, situation. So right at the point where you're going to ask for it, you can insert some kind of humor just to kind of ground the situation again. So I say, again, what I say is, well, it's easy. It's very easy. I just take all of your money and then we're off to the races. And then they go, and then I take their money. So then I take all of their money. So it's true, but I just do it in a funny way. Or I say, and my colleague, Krista, who I work with, we do actually work in the same room sometimes. She's probably heard this line about, I don't know, 1 million times, because she's listening to these sales calls as she's working away. So sometimes at the very end, I will say, okay, then who's the lucky victim? Which credit card are you going to use today? Right. So you can just kind of add these little one-liners in however you do it. And I've honestly must have said, who's the lucky victim? What credit card are you using today? I don't even know how many times at this point, but it just gets me over the hump from being so serious about the money part, right? Which is the part that like, that's when it all starts to fall down around you and you start getting too serious about it. So one of the ways to do it is inject a little bit of humor, and just find some, really cheesy sayings to insert into your little pitch or however you run your sales calls.
I like that, because that, like you say, it kind of diffuses and it takes you, but they're already at the stage of, okay, I mean, now what's next is really, how do I pay, isn't it? And the pressure off you. And I guess as well, it gets better with practice, right? You're probably really awkward the first few times you did it.
Right. It probably sound like an idiot. They're probably like, what? I'm just going to give my credit card.
Which is when you go back to the go to no thing, and it's like, go for no thing, isn't it? It's just like, you can, loads of people are going to say no to you. And that's fine. That's literally the worst that's going to happen. And it's, and that's okay, especially in sales. You're going to, I mean, if you are in a position where you have to sell a lot of things, or you in a position where you want to sell a lot of things, you're going to end up with more maybes than yeses, right? Straight away yeses. A lot of times, I mean, and you don't want it this way, but if you're not a sales pit bull like me, and you don't enjoy, hammering people with all of the pain and all the suffering and all the horrible things that are going to happen if they don't buy right now, that's not your jam, then you're going to end up with maybes. And then you better figure out a damn good follow-up series to help push them off the fence, right? Because I'm not one of those people that's going to be on the phone and start, if you don't do this, then, your life's going to fall apart and it's going to be horrible. Like, that's just not how I can. No. And that isn't how anyone should do sales, because it's like you say, it's pushy. This isn't about like getting money out of people at all costs. It's about helping people to make the decision, right? And do it fast so that it's not a waste of everybody's time.
Help them make the decision and then give them the pathway to pay, right? Pathways to pay are the biggest stumbling block I see in many businesses that I work with. So I go into businesses as a consultant, and I have a look at their sales and marketing processes, and I see what I'm doing. The number one concern is, well, we're not making enough money, right? Okay, so let me have a look at how many ways you've got out there in the world to make money. Oh, you have 0 pathways to make money. Well, that I can't imagine why you're not making any. That is a conundrum. Like it's like, that's it. That's all it comes down to. You didn't ask anyone for money, therefore you're not making any money. So it's not going to come to you. It's not going to magically appear. You have to put pathways out there so people can walk into your business and then give you some money. So that's the number one thing, is the pathways to money. So yes, on the sales call, you have to help them make this decision, and then you have to give them the pathway to give you the money, right? Don't fall short of the pathway, because that's, closing them on the phone is the best case scenario.
Also, we're not doing them any favors. If they want a thing and then we don't help them to get the thing, then that's kind of selfish, right?
Yeah, I think that if you've had a fantastic sales call and they're totally on board, they're invested, they want to pay for the thing that you're selling, the services that you have, and then you end the call with, great, okay, well, let's set something up next week, then I would leave the call saying, I would think that I hadn't purchased anything. Like, I would think that I didn't have a commitment. If you didn't say, if I was like, yeah, this is totally awesome, yeah, sign me up. And you didn't say, okay, great, let's get a credit card deposit, or let's take your credit card number on file, whatever. If you didn't go to that next stage, I'd be like, am I in? Am I in? Am I out? I don't really know. Like, it's confusing for the client. Yeah,
it is. I would assume, if I kind of had that conversation and then the person was like, oh, we'll sort something out next week, I would assume, because this is the way my brain works, I would assume that I had somehow offended them and that actually they didn't want to work with me at all.
Yeah, they were just trying to be polite to get you off the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, yeah, no, we'll sort of, I'll call you, don't call me. Yeah.
And it's like, I suppose the other way, because here's the thing. So what is a way for people to do it if, like, because I don't have facility to take people's credit card numbers over the phone. I don't want people's credit card numbers. Like, so I use online, Stripe and PayPal and that kind of thing. I do not want somebody's credit card number. So how would you do it in that instance?
So if you are not going to take credit cards over the phone, which I would highly recommend that you do, but if you're going to not do this thing that I'm advising everyone to do, then you've got a couple of options, really. Like, it really depends on how your stuff's set up in the back. Many people will have a sales page, right? So if I'm doing the sales call and it's all good, what I would do is then say, okay, great, I'm going to send you the sales page, and then the payment information is on the sales page. So if you have a landing page opt-in, or if you have some sort of payment gateway on a website, or some ClickFunnels or lead pages or something, you would shoot them the link, right? And then follow up with them in a consistent fashion. So I'm typically sending them the stuff. If they don't buy it on the phone, I'm sending them a recap email. Here's what we talked about. Here are the deliverables. Here's the link to the landing page, right? So if it's a maybe on the phone, I'm sending them their shit. Then I'll follow up to, hey, a day later, hey, did you get that email? Then I'll follow up a couple of days. Then I'll keep on following up with them for about 21 days. And at that point, I lose the deal and I move on to something else. Now, just for everyone's knowledge, I'm using Pipedrive as my sales call, basically capture system, right? So all of my sales calls go into Pipedrive, and it connected to my email, and then I can see which deals I've won, which deals I've lost, and
it kind of pings you to remind you.
Yeah, you can set up, I mean, I don't use it to this extent, but it's got all sorts of functions. You can set up sales calls, you can set up all sorts of stuff, and it will tell you how long the deal's been there, how long it's been rotting for. It's a cool system, especially for the disorganized like me. I need something to be very clear as to where I'm at. So anyway, so I'm using Pipedrive in the background. So you do your sales call. You would, you get this maybe, oh, it sounds really great. Let me think about it. Oh, it sounds really great. Let me talk to my husband. Oh, it sounds really great. I just have to process. I just have to digest, or whatever, right? Okay, cool. Then I'd send the recap email, which is a canned email, right? Just I don't write it every time. Recap email, and then the landing page link at the end with a follow-up series in the back. So that's assuming you have a follow-up series or a landing page on the back end, okay? The other way to do it, if you don't have any landing pages, if you don't have anything set up, any funnels, any payment gateways, you can send stuff directly from QuickBooks. So if you're using QuickBooks, which I know many solo entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs use, there is a way to send invoices directly from QuickBooks. You could do it that way, okay? So you could just, if you've got no landing page, but they're all in, send them an invoice via QuickBooks, and you can do that. Now, if you don't have any of that, guess what else you can do? You can send them a goddamn PayPal link, which is how I've done business before. Here's the PayPal link. Have fun. And then they just...
I guess you could do that while you're on the phone with people, couldn't you? Just send them the PayPal link and be like, oh, just, I'll wait.
Yeah, well, you want to do as much as you can on the phone, right? You don't actually really want to hang up and then send them the thing, right? Because once they've hung up, they're gone. You can consider that deal, a lost deal, or a maybe, right? Like, and genuinely, some people do need to think about things, right? I'm not one of those people. I will quickly spend $5,000, but they do. Like, many people need to think about it. So it's not all is lost, but you can pretty much guarantee the percentage of, what's the word I'm looking for? Your ability to win that deal after you've put the phone down is a lot harder. It's going to be way harder to win it. So you want to do everything as much as you can while they're on the phone. So you might want to send them the landing page while you're on the phone. Oh, I'm just going to shoot you this email real quick, and just, oh, you're on the computer? Yeah, just open it up so we can have a look at it. You want to, send them as much as you can while you have them.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and so let's back up a little bit as well. And how do you get people to? Because I don't really like the term overcoming objections, because I think some objections are totally legit. I much prefer to think of being like just answering everybody, like giving people as much information as possible. So how do you get people on the phone to like ask you the questions that they need to ask to feel kind of safe about giving you the money?
Yeah. Objections are funny, right? Because I'm not a sales pit bull. I'm not here to scorn you if you have to go check with your wife that you need to purchase this thing. Like, that's not, I back right away, because I just, for good or for bad.
Yeah, because people have and that really irritates me as well, because I've seen people like railing against, oh, you've got to go and ask your wife for permission or whatever. It's like, if you've got a household budget that you're both involved in and it's a big purchase, then damn right you've got to go and speak to your spouse, because it's not just your, what I mean?
There's especially when you start getting up into the high tickets, right? Like, there's repercussions when you drop 5 or 10 grand on something. It's like, and so I kind of, yeah, like I think like I've never found the solution, and nor do I really want to that, well, I have to talk to my spouse, because honestly, I'd probably talk to my spouse too. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's just how many relationships work, right? I mean, especially about something big. If it was, a pair of socks, who cares, right? But if it's something big that's fairly life-changing or fairly expensive, or, you might want to have that secondary perspective or secondary input, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not so sure about I have to check with my, spouse objection, because especially in the last 18 months, like, what are you going to say, right? Like, everyone's had a pretty fucking hard time financially in the past 18 months, right? So I'm not going to scorn you for double checking your financial budget in a pandemic. Like, it's very tricky. So there's certain levels of comfort with that, I would say. There's, some people would be totally fine, going down that path of, asking why they feel like they have to check, or, and then some people like me just wouldn't be comfortable. So at that point, if they're saying, well, I'm going to go check with my husband, I say, no problem. And then I say, just let them know, right? So just let them know these 3 things. And then I send them the recap email. So I kind of give them 3 things they can take to their spouse to direct the conversation. So it's not like they're just like puking, trying to regurgitate all the stuff that I just told them in a 4 to 5 minute sales call. So I just give them a recap, and then I give them the email so they can compare.
Yeah.
So objections, you'll always reach objections. There's all the sales gurus say, well, if you have a perfect sales call, you'll never have an objection, which is bullshit.
True.
I'm not Zig Ziglar. Like, I'm not like it's always going to happen, right? So the majority of people that I work with, objections are always going to happen. But I think the most important thing is to remember that your job is to speak for 20% and let them speak for 80%. Because as long as they're speaking, they're agreeing that they need the service. So if you can get an agreement from them that this service will be beneficial, and if you can get that agreement a few times, 5 times on the phone call, 3 to 5 times, as long as you can help them find their way and find themselves agreeing with the need of the service, you're going to reduce your amount of objections, right? So a lot of it starts out, why did you book this call today? Like, what do you want to talk today? What's been going on? Tell me the bigger picture. Usually I've got a little bit of background information on someone, but it's just a few facts. So I can say, fill me in, tell me what's going on, and I'll find a solution for you. And so they tell me what's going on, and I say, okay, great. So where do you need my support? Like, how best can I help you? And they'll say, well, I need this and I need that, and I need that. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, do you think you also need these other things? Or no, you might not need those. Oh yeah, I need those other things as well. Yeah, that sounds like something I could really do with. Okay, perfect. Well, it sounds like the perfect package for you is going to be, B package, and B package comes with, it's our most popular package that we have, and it sounds like it's a really good fit for you. And then they do their, the thing about what the deliverables are and what they're going to get. And do you think that would be helpful? Yes, I think that would be helpful, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of that, you've had them agree that the service that you offer is really quite good. They've had a chance to vent. They've had a chance to explain their unique story. They've had, which oftentimes is not very unique to me or to you, but to them it is very unique. They've had a chance to have someone listen to them, and then they've had a chance to see a solution. So, hopefully by the end of that, you've got to the end of your deliverables bit and you're like, okay, this is all the shit that you get in package B. The transition that I use a lot is, so what do you want to do next? Do you want me to get going and process the card so we can move forward? Or do you feel like you need a bit of time to think about this? And I use that transition a lot with people who I feel are like, like I can feel like I'm not quite getting the like total commitment with them. I'll use that transition. So what do you want to do next? Do you want me to process the card so we can move forward? Or do you think that you need a bit of time to think about this? And then I push it back, right? Which probably 100 salespeople will be like, that's terrible advice. But that's how I deal with that when I'm not feeling like they're like, yeah, let's do it. So when I'm kind of like, I don't really know. That's my I don't really know transition.
And I really like that, because I think the salespeople who would say that's terrible advice are the ones whose only goal is to get as much money as possible. Whereas your goal, because I know you quite well, your goal is to help people. That's what you're here for. And it's like, if somebody isn't sure and they're not going to get the best out of this service, then it's like me. I don't want to work with somebody who I've pushed into working with me. That would be a terrible relationship, and it would not go for either of us. So yeah, I don't think that's terrible advice at all. I think it's awesome advice.
I think especially if you're selling coaching services, right? Or long-term engagement services, if you're planning on working with someone for the next 4 to 6 months, you want to make sure that they are sure. The last thing you want is to sell someone who doesn't have 100% confidence in the services, because that person is going to turn around and be a complete pain in your ass for the entirety that they're with you, and they might end up refunding at one point. Mm-hmm. So you just have to be sure that if there's any sort of like red flags or anything, or you're just sort of not feeling it, you just got to be, let them be super sure, because if they're not, they're going to come back, and then they're going to come back in an administrative way, and it's going to piss you off. So just, but I know it's hard because everyone wants to sell and everyone wants to make money, but there is a certain level of discretion that you have to have with people, and just knowing that might be a bit of a pain in the ass. You don't want those people.
Yeah. And just like, and maybe being honest with yourself as well. It's like, I've worked with people who are like, you know what, I am not going to be the best person to help you with this, because I don't have, this amount of, whatever interest in whatever, or, people have come to me like, I want to write a fiction book and I want you to help me. And I'm like, I'm not the best person to help you do that. I'm not a fiction expert.
Because if you take it on, you're just committing yourself to months of just annoyance and
it's stressful.
It's very stressful to do that.
I would know that I wasn't doing my best work, because that's not my area of expertise. So it's like, why would I want to put myself through that just for money? No thanks. It's, it's not all about money.
And the other thing is, if you keep taking projects that it's not 100% in line with what you do, and you put yourself with clients or put yourself in situations that you're not comfortable, and you really don't like it, you block the good stuff coming to you. So you get super focused on clients that are pretty, crappy, and you've sold them because you needed the money, but they're not very good clients, and it's not your wheelhouse. But now you're going to spend the next 6 months working with them. During that 6 months that you're spending on this crap client, you could have some incredible offers coming to you that you just have blocked now. The next time you're faced with a crap client, but you're like in that money crap client dilemma, right? Do I need the money? Do I take the client? I need the money. Just think about how many missed opportunities you're going to have during the time that you spend with that crap client, because opportunities to make money are always there. It's always around you. If you can see it, if you can send a PayPal link, you can make money. But if you're focused on a crap client, you miss a lot. You miss out on so much.
I think people forget that, like, and this is going to sound cheesy and cliche as well, because it's true, is that every yes to one thing is a no to something else. It has to be, because
100%.
You've only got limited time, right? So
everything is equilibrium, right? Like in the world, every time, for every action, there's an opposite reaction. So every time I say yes to someone, I'm saying no to someone else. So you gotta be careful who you say yes to, right? So I know this doesn't help people who really need to sell. I mean, it's been a really rough go for a lot of people. I mean, coming from the fitness industry, I'm not in the fitness industry anymore, but having seen the decimation in that industry, the need to sell is outweighing the need for quality clients at this point, because they need to stay afloat. It's a really difficult situation for many folks, right? So you just have to just be cognizant, right? Don't get so focused on selling and selling and selling that you're going to take on a crap client and then piss yourself off for the next 6 months. Right.
Yeah. And that goes back to, again, the opportunity cost thing is like, if you're giving your stuff away for free and this false sense of generosity, you're not going to have the time when a good paying client comes along to do the paying work that you want to do. So,
and there's only like, I'm always a fan of like the big picture, right? And I'm really good at looking at the big picture and looking sort of, further down the line. So say it's just you at the moment, right? And you're just a solopreneur, and you're doing your thing, you're selling your consulting services, and you don't really have a team per se, but you're doing your thing. And you are really good at being generous, and you're giving away all this stuff. One day you are going to have more people, right? Like, let's say that this is the goal, right? You're going to have a bigger business, and you're going to have a team on the back end. As soon as you have a team in play, you're going to pay that team. There's a team of people who now have invoices coming to you weekly that you now have to pay. If you keep on focusing on your generous spirit, that's not going to pay the team. And the team are going to get pretty pissed off that you keep on being super generous, because they know that they have paychecks in the hopper that you need to pay for them. So if you think big picture, the generosity is stopping you from getting any bigger. But then it's going to piss a lot of people off in the future who know that, there's money to be paid. So it's not going to help you in the big picture to be super generous right now. just because you're scared of taking a credit card or just because you're scared of broaching the money topic, right?
Cool. Awesome. There's some really good advice for everybody there. And I hope that everybody listening is taking that on board, because I know how hard it is to ask for money. I hate asking for money. Horrible. But the more you do it, the less painful it gets each time. And you've just got to remember that, like you said, we're in this business to help people make their lives better. Whatever we do, whatever people who are listening are doing, I think most entrepreneurs get into what they do because they see a need to help people do something, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that if you're broke. You just can't. You're not well to do it. So
yeah.
Oh, thank you. I feel like we solved that problem and we can move on now.
We can absolutely move on. So what I'll do is I'll just take your credit card. If you can just get that out for me. We'll start with the long number, okay? Go ahead when you're ready.
My mother's maiden name is, yes. And my shoe size. Cool. Okay. So thank you, Misty, for that for that advice and wisdom. That's fab. Really appreciate it. And you are my second guinea pig for my new rapid fire question round, which I have shamelessly stolen from Brené Brown because she does this on her podcast. And I was like, that's a great idea. I am stealing that. So,
okay.
So rapid fire questions. Try and just say the first thing that comes into your head.
That's a dangerous game, but okay.
Yes. What are you reading right now?
I can't remember.
Cool.
There's 4 books.
Oh, 4.
Yeah. Right now. What's the guy called who did the book about going to Mars? The Hail Mary Project by the guy who did the
Andy Weir.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
Yes. Oh, I love that book. I love it so much that I then listen to the audio. You should listen to the audiobook after you finish reading it, because the audiobook is brilliant.
Oh, okay. I'm a reader, but then I've also got Tosha's, I forgot the name of it. Anyway, Tosha is this abundance mindset person. So I'm reading Tosha. See, the problem is I have all these, so many books. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good answer.
Okay.
What is a favorite book of yours? Not your favorite, because if you're like me, that changes with your mood. But what is a book that stuck with you?
The Go-Giver by Bob Burg is a book that's always stuck with me. It's something when Vicky and I do events, or I just want to recommend a book to a business owner. That's probably one of the first books. And then the second book is Papillon, and I can't pronounce his last name. I think it's Henry Charrier or something like that. It's French. But this is a true story about a guy who gets put in the penal systems, and how he escapes, and all of his escapes, and how he escapes all of these places. And it's just like his resilience, and he's just so good. So it's a really good book. Oh,
awesome. Thank you for that. This is basically my way of extracting book.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's a favorite film of yours? A film that you've enjoyed?
A favorite film of mine? There's many. There's many. It depends on why I've enjoyed it. I think one of the best series that I've watched, this is really stupid. It's called Insidious. If you like horror movies that scare the shit out of you and full of jump scares, the Insidious, I think it's a trilogy or like 4 movies or something. They're all really good. Like, they don't get shittier as they go, like most series do. They're all really good. So if you like scary movies, Insidious. Yes.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. The last thing you binge watched?
Oh, I'm doing it right now. It's Grey's Anatomy again. Easy. Okay,
I've never seen it. Is it good? Should I watch it?
Yes. I've watched it twice. I watched it. There's 17 seasons. What else do you need in life? 17
seasons. Oh my God. We're currently binge watching every episode of Star Trek ever made. So I'm going to have to get on Grey's Anatomy. But
17 seasons. And it's like brain candy. You don't need to do anything. You just have to watch. And you just, it's great.
That's daunting though. The idea of 17 seasons, I actually find that a little bit frightening.
No, think of them as new friends. You have whole new friends for 17 seasons.
I mean, that does appeal to me, actually, yeah. Okay. Your favorite place?
My favorite place is definitely on a Canadian lake somewhere. It doesn't matter really where, but basically just somewhere where there's a big lake in front of me and lots of pine trees and lake noises.
Nice. Yes. I love that. I need to come visit you in the summer so that we can actually go on a lake instead of walking on a lake.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, here's one. What does having power mean to you?
Having power means to me that having power means in your life, you are the master of your own destiny. So if you have power, you get to design the kind of lifestyle that you want, right? So that's being powerful is not bossing people around. Being powerful is designing the best life ever. That's what I think power means.
Nice, like it. What are you grateful for right now?
What am I grateful for? Oh, I have like the best life. Sounds so fucking braggy. But did you see the lights go out when I just said I had the best life?
Yeah, did you just summon a demon?
I know, shit. Jinxed it. I have the best life. So the last 6 years, Vicky knows all about this. It was hard, right? Like there was a lot of transitions in my life. There was a lot of moving. There was, all sorts of stuff. And it was been hard. And now I look at my life and it's just where you just work really hard. Sometimes you're in a really shitty place and you just keep working. And eventually you get to a really amazing place. And I'm not saying that amazing place will last forever because things change all the time. But eventually you'll get to a really amazing place. And when you're in that really amazing place, you have to be super grateful for it. So I'm in a really amazing place. I'm super grateful for it right now, knowing that everything changes. That's fine. But right now, everything's awesome.
That's so cool. I'm very glad. What are you most proud of?
Me.
Yay! Good answer.
I am. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, right? Because I came from the fitness industry. Pride in the fitness industry is on your body, right? If you're proud of your physique, you're proud of your diet, you're proud of your commitment, your resilience. Like that, the pride is on your body, and so that is a very skewed way of thinking, right? That's a very sort of small ball to play in. So I was thinking about this, I was in the fitness industry. I left the fitness industry. Ultimately, when you leave the fitness industry, you will gain weight because you're like, yes, I fucking drink wine and eat chocolates. So, but you have to love yourself, which is hard from the fitness industry. So I was thinking about this yesterday and thinking, it doesn't matter. I'm proud of me and all the things I did. I've ran my own businesses. Now I work with all these other businesses. I'm proud of that part. I'm proud of my workouts. I'm proud of all the things that I've managed with my family. I'm proud of me. And I just was thinking about that yesterday. To me. I'm
Yay! Yes. And what is on your bedside table? I don't know if I should ask you this question.
Well, okay. So back in the day, this would have been a lot more raunchier, but honestly, right now, it is eczema cream, some Tums, and wipes, baby wipes. I think there's a pair of scissors, but I don't know why. I'm not sure what I'd do with the scissors, but they're in there.
Okay, maybe cutting the wipes up. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting to that point in life where I cut wipes in half so I can save them. Tums and fucking eczema cream. Woohoo!
Nice, rock and roll, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, and that is the end of my questions. Thank you very much for illuminating us. And here's the thing. I've got another one I'm going to add to this list. What do you do when you're not working?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. This is a really interesting question because many of us just work all the time, and I found myself in that trap at the beginning of the year. So when I'm not working, I'm working out, or I'm watching Grey's Anatomy. Or we're at the trailer camping. I think those are the three things, really.
Nice. Like it.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Misty, thank you. Where can people find out more about you?
They can head over to www.disgracefulmarketing.com and check out all the raunchy reviews people have left me over the years for my incredible consulting services. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me.
Lovely. And that link will be in the show notes. And I feel like I could mention, although I'm a bit low because I've got a bad feeling about this winter, I really have. I just think the shit's going to hit the fan again. But do you think maybe there could be a Breaking Bread in 2022?
There could be a Breaking Bread in 2022. There could be. Depends on a lot of it. Yeah, it depends on a lot of things at the moment. Yeah. But it would be so awesome to organize something. or even an early 2023 if we're not sure about the travel thing at the end of this next summer, right? So,
You know what, mate, I just want to go somewhere hot. We've done San Diego, that was epic. We've done Portugal, that was epic. We did originally in Canada in the winter, which was lovely and not epic. We were in a hot warm room.
It was epically cold.
Yeah, and we did not Manchester. We did the Dales, Dales, and got chased by cows, and that was also epic.
Yes, we did do that. Yeah. So I have to think of somewhere. If anyone's got any suggestions, ping Vicky and tell her where they would like the next event.
No, because now I'm going to get 50,000 emails of people telling me 50,000 different places, and then I'm going to be like, no, screw you all.
It's Vicky at vickyfraser.com, and all of your ideas, just send them all to her.
Thanks for that. Disgracefulmarketing.com does have a contact form, so go on. Also, thank you, Misty. This has been ace. Thanks for joining me again. Let's rant about something else in a few weeks, and then we'll come back and rant in public.
Sounds like a plan.
So I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I enjoyed chatting with Misty. As you probably could tell, we know each other really well. So it was really good fun talking. I hope you enjoyed the rapid fire questions at the end as well. I think that's giving people a real insight into real people and real lives. I'm particularly enjoying all of the book recommendations I'm getting. So anyway, I hope you've got loads of really, really good and helpful advice out of that interview. I know I did. I'll be listening back to it because, I don't know anybody who finds it easy and delightful to ask for money, but I do know that it gets easier and easier the more often that you do it. And I know that you have to do it as well, because until we bring down capitalism and come up with a better way of running the world, we're stuck with making money, so let's learn to do it in a way that doesn't feel icky and in a way that doesn't make us want to hide under a rock. Go forth, listen, sell, do something worth writing, write your book. And if you want more information or help from Misty for her to help you to do this, you can go to disgracefulmarketing.com. The link is in the show notes. And if you are thinking, oh, you know what, I am ready to write my damn book, then A, yay, that's fantastic. B, you can go to grab a copy of my book, which will help you get started at moxiebooks.co.uk/buy the book. Or you can drop me an email about my coaching. I've got group coaching starting in a month or so, and I have a couple of slots open for private client coaching as well. If you would like to work with me one-on-one to write your book, drop me an email, vicky@moxiebooks.co.uk, and we will set a time to chat. Thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate you spending this time with me on a Saturday morning or whenever you're listening to this. I really appreciate it. And thanks to Podfly for doing a great job producing and putting this episode out. And thank you to Harriet for basically organising my life and making sure that everything goes where and when it's supposed to go. I will be back same time next week with Joe. In the meantime, have a fabulous time. Happy writing. Stay weird. And I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. You can find links and show notes on the website at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast, where you can also sign up for the best daily emails in the multiverse and find loads of free resources to help you write your book. We'll be back the same time next week with more tales from the book writing trenches and the latest on what the tiny sheeps have been up to.